Meal planning is something that I do every single week, and I think it makes my life a lot easier. So today I'm going to show you how I do it. So meal planning is a must-do sort of thing for me, and honestly, when I hear from people that they don't meal plan, I'm like, I don't know how you're living your life, because meal planning is so important for me. It helps me know what I need to get at the grocery store, and it also just makes my days much easier because I don't have to worry about what I'm gonna make for dinner. Do we have everything we need? Because I've already planned it out and I already know that I have the ingredients on hand. And since meal planning is such an important part of my routine and what I do to live a healthy lifestyle, I thought it would be a good idea to share with you how I do it. And the way I do it is really simple, it's super easy, and that's why I think it works so well for me. So I like to do my meal planning in a super basic spiral notebook that has a spiral at the top. And I like to get the ones that have this line down the center separating the page into two sections. And this is really key because it just keeps everything nice and organized. And the reason I like using a notebook that's set up this way is because then when I do my meal plan, I can put the day of the week on one side and then I put the dinner for that night on the other side, and I just go down the page and do it that way. And then I put the date for that week up here too, just so I have that for a reference. And for me, I just do meal planning for dinner. So I know some people like to do all three meals or maybe lunch and dinner, but the way things work in my house, I'm just cooking for two. It's me and Jason, so I will make a dinner that feeds 4 to 6 people, and then we have leftovers the next day for lunch. So I never have to plan lunches because the leftovers are already kind of built in for that. And then for breakfast, we just kind of have the same couple of things. You know, it varies a little bit depending on the season, but for that, I just know those few basic items that I always want to have on hand, so those always go on the grocery list, and I just make sure I'm keeping those things in stock so we have them. Now, as far as the actual meal planning process, that happens down here at the bottom of the page, and you'll notice there's like some little scratch outs and scribbles. So at the end of a week, when we've gone through the meal plan and then I'm planning for the next week, I do all of that planning down here in this bottom space. And so what I do there is, you know, if there's something that I know I want to make, then I'll kind of put those things down. I also put down different ideas. It's just a place for me to start thinking and start coming up with things, and I can also start kind of moving things around and thinking about how things are going to fit into our week and what we have coming up and what we're doing. I also have a couple standard things that I just kind of always keep in the mix. For example, I always have a night planned where we're going to have eggs for dinner, so I already know that that's going to be there. Now, depending on what other foods are available, what time of year it is, what we want, that can change. So it could be, you know, egg biscuits, it could be a frittata, it could be something else, but I always have that plan that we're going to have something egg-based in the mix for the week. And you don't have to do that one specifically. I just find it helpful to have something that's pretty easy in there that you kind of always work into your meal plans. So it's one more meal that you don't have to really think about and figure out because it's kind of always there. Now, there is one thing that changes a little bit during this planning stage depending on what time of year it is. So if we are in the winter time and there's no farmer's market open, then I'm starting with nothing in the fridge and I'm just figuring out what I want, and I kind of know what's going to be at the grocery store, and then I plan out everything I need, and then when I do my shopping, I pick up the items that I planned for. Now, during the farmer's market season, a little bit of it is kind of flip-flopped from that. So you know, if you follow me on Instagram, that every week when I go to the farmer's market, I take a big layout picture of all of the vegetables and fruits and stuff that I bought because I know a lot of people like to see what I'm getting. But that also serves another purpose. It's kind of a nice little added bonus for me when I'm doing my meal planning, because when I go to the farmer's market, I haven't done my meal planning for the week yet. I just kind of go see what looks good. I kind of have in my mind, okay, we're gonna need veggies for a certain amount of dinner, so just kind of keep that in mind when I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna get and how much I need, but I don't really have a solid plan in place. Then when I'm doing my meal planning, I can pull up that picture that I posted on Instagram and I can see everything really clearly all laid out. So that's how I make sure that stuff doesn't go to waste or go bad in my fridge, because I can see everything that's there, and then I can go through and say, okay, we need to use this, we're gonna have this on this night, we need to use this yellow squash over here, what is that gonna be? We have this bok choy over there, how are we gonna use that? And so I can kind of see everything really clearly and then plan it into the meal plan. Then in that scenario, when I'm making my grocery list, there isn't a lot of extra stuff to add, but there always are a few things that I can't get at the farmer's market. So I figure out what those things are, and then I put those on my grocery list, and then when I go to the grocery store, I can get all those extra items to fill out what I'm gonna need for my meals. And then once I've got my meal plan figured out and solid, I flip the page and then I actually write it out nice and clear and neat once I've made all of my decisions. And so then I have it all there to look at. Now, one thing I really like about doing it in this spiral type situation is that this is a huge book now of meal plans. I mean, this goes back a couple years. Every week I just flip the page and I write the next meal plan, and then I flip the page and I write the next meal plan. And it's really nice because then if there's a week where I'm like, I don't know what to make, I just am not feeling inspired, or I feel like I'm in a rut, I can flip back and look at the past few weeks, and I can also flip back and look at what I was doing a year ago or 2 years ago. And so that's really nice. Now, of course, it takes some time of doing this to get that built up, but you'll be surprised how quickly it goes. And then you have these backup meal plans for those times when you don't know what to make, or maybe you're super busy and you feel like, I don't even have time to meal plan right now. You can just go back to an old meal plan, copy that, say, this is what we're doing, make any minor adjustments you need to, and then you're done and you don't have to worry about it. And I know for some people that sounds a little intense. They're like, what? You have like a year or 2 years of meal plans in a notebook? Like, I'm not organized. I can't do that. That sounds like a lot, but really, it's not hard to do. Let me tell you, I am not naturally a very organized person. It's just not me. It's not who I am, but I can do this because it's super simple. Instead of like scrounging around for a random scrap piece of paper or something like that, I just have this notebook always sitting on the bookshelf in my kitchen. So then when it's time to do the meal plan for the week, I know where this is. I go and I grab it, I write down the meal plan, and then I put it back on the shelf. And so it doesn't take any effort just to write things down in this one spot, any more effort than to be using random pieces of paper that you have floating around the house or anything like that. The notebook does its job of keeping everything together. I don't have to do anything there. I just flip the page and move on to the next thing, and then it all stays where it needs to be. Another thing I know that can freak people out with meal planning a little bit is they look at this thing and they're like, okay, so now I'm like nailed down to this, like this is set in stone, I have to do this. That seems stressful because what if I want to go do something else? What if something comes out? Maybe we want to go to dinner, or a friend invites us over to have dinner at their house. What happens to the meal plan? It doesn't have to be stressful that way. The meal plan is not the law, it's not restrictive, it's not rigid. This is just your guide for the week, so you have it there. But I will tell you, there are very few weeks that I stick to my meal plan 100% because things do happen. We do decide to go out to dinner maybe on a night that we weren't planning, or we get busy doing yard work and we end up just throwing together something super easy and not cooking and making a whole dinner. There's a ton of other things that can happen that can screw up the meal plan, but it's not really screwing it up, it's just more adjusting and shifting. So you can make those adjustments through the week as things change, but you know that you always have this here for you, so you don't have to be in that situation either of like, what are we having? I don't know what's going on. I have to run to the store. If you have to make adjustments, that's totally fine. And a lot of times that actually makes meal planning for the next week easier because almost always when I'm doing my meal planning for the next week, there is at least one, if not 2 meals that didn't happen or didn't happen the way I thought they would. So we still have those available. I still have those that I need to cook. They're sitting in my fridge. So they just go at the beginning of the meal plan for the next week. And that's 1 or 2 more dinners that I don't have to think about or plan because I planned for it the week before. Now, with all that said, just because this is the method of meal planning that works for me doesn't mean that it's the method for you. So if you have any experience with meal planning, definitely leave anything you have tried in the comments, whether you loved it or you hated it, because I'm sure people would love to hear more ideas and just see what other options are out there. And it really all does depend on who you are, what your personality is, what your routine and lifestyle is like. For example, I know not everyone loves the hard paper version. Some people really like to do it digitally on their phone or their computer and keep it that way. It doesn't matter. There isn't a right way or a wrong way to do this. It's just whatever you like and what fits with you and your life. And if you have any questions about meal planning or the way I do it, definitely leave those in the comments. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you are new here and you want more healthy eating tips and nutrition info and healthy lifestyle stuff, then make sure that you subscribe, because eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle really doesn't have to be complicated, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.